Please pray with me. May these words that I speak be grounded in my soul, encouraged by the God presence in me. And may these words that you hear be captured by your soul, enlivened by the God presence in you. Amen. It seems to me that until only very recently, there was just one category of humankind that was not silenced, that did not experience systemic marginalization and oppression. That category was older, white, straight, educated, wealthy men. But even this is changing, finally, in some ways. Not that I wish silencing and marginalization on anybody, but I think we should all have our share of it. But finally, after more than 100 centuries of male domination, the more common reality today is that we live in a world where anyone, regardless of gender, race, education, wealth, age, or sexual orientation, could find themselves silenced by another or others in a variety of positions of power. So when I talk about the spirit of the silenced, I'm not talking today about how we as affluent Westerners need to reach out from our place of privilege to help those less fortunate. Not entirely. Rather, I am encouraging us, all of us, to pay attention to our encounters with all others, human and other than human. To notice when we witness another, or even when we witness ourselves being silenced, voiceless, disenfranchised, and marginalized. This very old and well-known tale illustrates this need, I think, for each of us to pay attention. It goes like this. A man spoke with God about heaven and hell. God said to the man, "Come, I will show you hell." They entered a room where a group of people sat around a huge pot of stew. Everyone was famished, desperate, starving. Each held a spoon that reached the pot, but each spoon had a handle so much longer than their own arm that it could not be used to get the stew into their own mouths. The suffering was terrible. "Come," said God, "now I will show you heaven." They entered another room identical to the first. Pot of stew, the group of people, the same long-handled spoons. But there everyone was happy and well-nourished. I don't understand," said the man. "Why are they happy here when they are so miserable in the other room and everything is the same?" God smiled. It is very simple. Here, they have learned to feed each other. It is this paying attention with eyes and hearts wide open at the center of this story that is also at the heart of our stories this morning. In the Word for All Ages, the story I shared with the children, we become witnesses to the children from the village of Corfey. And this is a true story. Children who have been marginalized by isolation and poverty, which made education a tremendous challenge. What is interesting to me is that it is not the Corfey voices raised in protest and anger that changed their lives. Rather, it was deep listening, heart-deep listening by another, by someone from outside that saw the need. Dr. Gregg witnessed how the children and their families were silenced by their geography and their lack of resources. And he had also witnessed firsthand their indestructible spirits in the welcome and care he received from them. The Pentecost Spirit, the Spirit of God, was powerfully alive even in their silence. And the result was a bridge and then a school, and renewed hope for a better future. Every single spirit soared when a spoon of stew, school-shaped, is offered in gratitude for a cup of tea received. Our gospel story that Penny read gives us a similar example. A widow's son is brought back from the dead, which restores her own life. Frankly, I'm not particularly interested in the part of the story that proclaims Jesus is able to raise the physically dead. You will have to decide for yourself about whether or not you believe in that kind of miracle. Rather, I am much, much more interested in Jesus' attention to the dead man's mother. With the death of her only son, this widow becomes as good as dead in her culture. Widows endured the same fate as lepers. And lepers in first century Mediterranean culture was a term that referred to any manner of physical or mental illness. It wasn't just leprosy. Anyone with a physical or mental illness was exiled, was removed from the community. This woman faced the same exile and oppression and would be left without any means to support herself, left to the mercy of anyone who might consent to help. She was silenced by the redefining of her place in her society. And like the children in Corphe, she doesn't raise her voice in protest, and yet Jesus is drawn to her indestructible spirit. Jesus pays attention. He feels compassion, and he restores her life from death. And every spirit soared when a spoon of stew, love-shaped, is offered in recognition of the fragile nature of life. I know personally what it is to be silenced. From age 11 to age 36, a full 25 years, I was silenced by our culture. I was silenced by my fear of reprisal and prejudice. I was silenced by my fear of rejection by family and friends. And so I became a silent and closeted gay child, gay teen, and gay adult. My Dr. Greg, my Jesus, was not part of the gay community at all. My Dr. Greg, my Jesus, was my very straight and very loving friends, who became my voice against the prejudice and injustice of homophobia. And all of our spirits soared when a spoon of stew, compassion-shaped, was offered in gratitude for deep and honest friendship. Each of these stories calls us to pay attention to the times when we are silenced and need the voice of another, to pay attention to the times when we silence another and need to offer love, and to pay attention to the times when we witness another's silence that we've had nothing to do with and need to respond with compassion. This is the Pentecost way. Not just a one-time event in another time and place, but ongoing moments where the God Spirit that is part of us creates in us true hearts of fire. It is hearts of fire, this deep yearning in me, this hope for transformation, this dream of a better world that I have tried to capture in this song. takes many souls with passion to know we need to give, and it takes many hearts of fire to help each one to be in every single nation truly free. In every single nation truly free. It does take many hearts of fire, many souls with passion to change the world. But it only takes one or two or three of us to make a significant difference. All we need to do is pay attention, really pay attention to the spirit of the silenced.